And here we are. It is just after 8
Yes.
o'clock in the morning. If you've already joined on Facebook, you'll see that I already started broadcasting ahead of time. If you're joining live, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, either at this time Pacific or if you're watching at a later time, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm joined by a whole group of friends. Hello, friends.
Oh,
Hello.
Oh,
So this
hello,
is a
hello.
different way of looking at a religious service, and the biggest difference of it is that it's that I ask people to keep their microphones unmuted, and it's got its advantage of meaning that people can talk and share, and we can all be part of a community together. The disadvantage is some of the people you see on the screen have dogs,
you could take those off.
Oh,
and sometimes somebody's spouse says something to them, not realizing they're on a call. Um, we're going to play a game. Everyone is welcome. It is the
That, put them back on. Well, thank you.
It's time to play Suffering Olympics.
Bye-bye. I'm out.
Actually, Joe, you're winning, honey.
Actually, I am. I already got a gold medal. I got three, probably, maybe.
This is not the Olympics you want to be winning in.
You did not. No. Mm-mm.
But I
but
do.
it's so delightfully Jewish.
It's delightfully Jewish to complain.
Patch. It's,
Yeah. Thank you, Steve. There's something about being sad and having other people hear our sadness that it draws them to us and we can get comfort. There's nothing wrong. Kvetching is to complain for no reason. But to complain so that you can feel heard, to complain so that you can feel seen, there's nothing wrong with that. That being said, trying to avoid kvetching, Kvetch, I think is how we spell kvetch, could use a few more vowels.
That
Kvetching
would be
about
bitching. Would that be bitching?
bitching. Yeah, okay, that's a good translation. So without bitching, without kvetching too much, is there a thing? And this we're gonna start straight in today. Is there a thing that's heavy on your heart that you want to feel seen and supported about? Can you give us a sentence? Do you have a thing that I've do you feel in need of a little bit of
So I sent an email to the whole board apologizing for my outburst and letting my personal feelings get in the way. And that I would try and be more appropriate going forward. And that was huge for me to be able to recognize that what I had said I felt was inappropriate. The good news about it was the only feedback I got back was really, really positive.
Good
So
for
it was
you.
really nice.
Good for
Yeah.
you for taking personal responsibility when you could have done better.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Good work, Dolly. And thank you for sharing that with us as a group. I think it's lovely for us to be able to share. Good, wonderful. Let's say you see this sign on your computer. There's a screen that shows up and it says cookies might be left on your computer, and it asks you to press the button to continue. Do you press the button to continue? Let me see. Yes?
No.
Ends.
All right. Let me ask a different question. I was hoping for a yes answer on that last one, by the way. Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
It's a yes.
Your video is being recorded. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Sure.
Sure.
I know you're okay with that because you're doing it right now. Come
Oh,
on.
right.
There's a third one. Reality might not be what you were thinking it is.
That's
true.
All right, so on the
Well-
bottom of this screen, there are two buttons. One says accept and one says leave.
Accept.
I'm
Reality might not be
staying.
what you were thinking it is, and what's your choice?
I'm gonna stay.
Yeah.
I'm staying.
There are two things we talked about last week that are coming up already. One is this idea of accepting things as they are, and can we bury expectations? And that is not such an easy thing to do. And there was a second thing. That I wanted us to. There are two topics. I'm going to bring them both up, and we're going to let the group help figure out which way we go. Burying expectations, or talk about that gratitude that somebody had just mentioned about getting in. Oh, Dolly had just said, and it reminded me that last week we sent gratitude emails to people, and I'm wondering if you have any feedback about. I should not have given both choices. They're totally separate topics, but okay, we're gonna. Okay. Hi. Let me take a moment and take a breath of air and remember that all of you who are here, who are part of this service, are rooting for me. And even though I feel like I might have just blundered, you all are definitely forgiving. So I'm going to just take a moment.
There's your heart right there.
Thank
You
you.
could read from your book.
I don't think I need more options.
Oh, you don't.
I didn't even notice that you blundered.
Emily, I love you. Thank you. We're going to go a totally different route. Hi, folks.
Hey.
Rabbi.
Good morning. It's so nice to see you.
I have a topic that I have been wanting to talk to this group about, and I'm going to try something new today. We've not done this before. But to have a discussion with 41 people is a little difficult. So I'm going to ask everyone except for the following pre-selected panel to mute themselves. And my pre-selected panel, you don't have to literally mute yourself, but yeah, why not? Mute yourselves. Except for my pre-selected panel of Emily, Jordan, Hugh, Michael, and Carol. I have a pre-selected crew of Jordan, Hugh, Michael O., Emily, and Carol. If you're not on that group, you're still a wonderful and good person.
Sometimes it's good not to be on the list.
Yes.
Thank you. The topic that I want, and I emailed these people ahead of time, and this is there's wisdom in this group. I know that because, and I'm not just talking the small group, I'm talking the larger group. There's wisdom because you don't get to be, I don't think we have one person on screen who is not of gray hair material. Does anyone not have naturally some gray going on? What I'm trying to say is we're all old. I mean wise. What I'm trying to say is we're all wise. And I learned years ago, it was shortly after around the year 2000, I started a 10 to 12 step meeting, and I saw how much wisdom was in the group. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so different than the sage on the stage mentality that I'm used to. Because people have all the wisdom. It's in the room. And so the topic I wanted us to look at today is anger and disappointment. I wanted us to look at anger and disappointment, and I wanted to ask my panel friends of Jordan and Hugh and Emily and Carol. I'm trying to put all you all in one place so I can see you on my screen at the same time. Jordan and Hugh and Carol and
Emily.
Emily. Where's Emily? There you are. Hi, Emily. And Emily and Carol and Jordan and Hugh and Michael. There's Michael. Hi, Michael. Okay. The question, so the topic is anger and disappointment. They're not the same thing. We all suffer, right? Hugh, Carol, Jordan, Emily. You've suffered from anger and disappointment from time to time, yeah?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, why do they go together? Why did you
Yeah,
put those two topics together?
They came together. I think anger, disappointment is, I'd rather have disappointment than anger. I'm better at dealing with disappointment. Disappointment feels like anger is a larger version of disappointment. Anger is when I'm super disappointed. I don't really know. I just know that they go together. Like, would you add to that? Why do these two words go together so easily? They're unpleasant.
And fear goes in there too, I think, somehow.
Fear, disappointment, and anger.
Yeah.
I think part of the connection is that both are responses to a lack of control. We realize that something is beyond our ability to control, and that causes anxiety and stress in us, and that manifests itself in various ways. Disappointment, anger could be the same, could be both those things at once, could be separate. But I think lack of control is part of the root of that.
I think one anger is anger at an interpersonal relationship. The other is a much larger anger when you see our country turning into a dictatorship. And I think the answer for both of them is the same, surprisingly, that we step back and say, I don't have billions of galaxies in the universe. How trivial this thing is. Let it go. But when I look at the changing of this country, into something that I no longer recognize, I say, wait a minute, I can't kill Putin or anyone else. Bonhoeffer was horrified that he had been in a plot to kill Hitler because he thought, that's not who I am. I think we have to say, well, what is the thing to do if this country, in fact, goes in that direction? Yeah. And the answer is endure, persist, be yourself. That's the most important thing you were called to do. You were created to be you. Do not give up your values.
Disappointing.
So the
that's trivial, right? I got two sets, like I'm lucky. But, looking at Putin, like it's or a criminal that hurts or I don't know, child molestation, whatever that, just pick your thing that's like, well, that guy should be killed, or I wish we had capital punishment. You know.
The something I always remember him saying that with things that upset us or anger or whatever, you can curse it, which I do, or you can do it in that order: curse it, nurse it, rehearse it.
wait, say those again. That sounds vaguely interesting. Nurse it.
Yeah, you can curse it.
Curse it.
Yeah, curse it, nurse it, and rehearse it.
I don't understand what rehearse it means.
Rehearse it is just go over it and over again the wrong that was done to you. Yeah, I mean, I always curse it first. I used to say, and by the way, you all remember that I don't say this so much anymore. I used to say fuck all the time, but I just don't need to say it so much anymore. Found something else.
Were you going to tell us? What'd you find?
Well, shit is always a good one, and I'll start with that. I mean, that's a good one to do. I mean, I think he has a good idea to start with that, to curse it, and then you do something with it.
Okay. So anger is so if we're going to make a playbook for people of like, here's some quick tips to read about anger. One would be what you said, Michael, of feeling the anger fully when you feel the anger, as opposed if you feel it at a level 10, it will take you 30 seconds, and if you feel it at a level 3, you're going to be with the anger for longer. So one thing that we could tell people about anger is feel it. Go ahead, Hugh.
I want to add to Emily's list.
Okay.
I used to repress my anger and try to convince myself that I was not an angry person.
I think a
But
lot
then
of
I
us
would
can
find,
get that, right? A lot of us have that exact same feeling. Is I'm somehow above getting angry.
and I think my associations were that anger was not a welcome feeling in my home when I was growing up. So I grew up with an unhealthy attitude towards anger. It was not a good thing to get angry. So when I did get angry, I would feel shame and I would try to repress it. What I've been trying to do in recent years, and this is the word I want to add to Emily's list, is to befriend it. Uh, because what I would do beforehand is I would feel the anger as Michael described, but I would let it consume me, and I would take my in that moment and in ongoing moments, I would almost lose myself in the anger so that I over identified with it. And by befriending it, and this is, I learned this from Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen Buddhist monk. I'm sure most of you or many of you know about him. He talks about acknowledging it and befriending it, seeing it not as a negative part of oneself, but as a natural part of oneself that I don't need to feel shame about.
Right, right.
But along with that is, and this is what I think Michael reminded me of, is at what point do we respond to to the anger? Um, do we respond immediately out of a place of anger? And normally that's destructive when we do that, like with our stimulus and response people. It's so
Oh, you have your
close.
own set. Oh
I
my
I
God.
made my own set, Brian. When the stimulus and the response are so close, we become consumed. We operate right out of this place of anger, and usually in a destructive way. What I'm trying to do now in my life through meditation is to increase that distance between response, stimulus and response,
Yeah.
so that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I'm observing my anger, and that's what I mean by befriending it, observing it, accepting it as a part of who I am, but not allowing it to not allowing it to identify who I am. So if I increase that space, then I can observe my anger,
Hmm.
and then I'm more likely to not over-identify with it, but as somebody suggested earlier, use it to motivate me to do something good rather than something bad.
Yeah.
So in that way, I befriend it. I don't see it as something that's negative in me. It
Hmm.
can result in negative things, or it can be a very positive, powerful force in my
Yes.
life. But that takes, like, I've been meditating for 15 years and I'm still just learning this.
Yeah.
Let it experience the anger without trying to get rid of it right away. I was talking to a friend of mine about it the other day, my friend Jean, and we were talking about a response like tears. And once tears flow, it changes things.
Yeah. Thank you. The anger the right way. Oh my goodness, it's time to refresh ourselves about Aristotle and what he said about anger. Aristotle said anyone can be angry. That is easy. But to be angry at the right
Time,
to be
Time, the
angry at
right
the right
person,
person at the right time,
right time for the right
to the right degree.
in the
Reason.
right amount, to the right degree, and finally for the right
Reason. Yeah.
reason. And if you're new to my mnemonics, that's a picture of a raisin because it rhymes with reason.
Mhm.
That it's okay to be angry. It's actually a healthy thing to do to be angry.
Mm.
Our society does not teach us this very well. And I've heard Gene Robinson talked about using this after he gets angry and to say, did I do it to the right person? Did I do it at the right time? Did I do it in the right amount? Did I do it for the right
Right.
reason? And where I am wrong, let me seek forgiveness.
Yeah.
And Dolly, you gave a beautiful example of that earlier, of doing something wrong and asking at the right time for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan?
I think half the battle.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
sorry.
Michael.
I was just thinking half the battle about anger is a brain thing, right? Survival, and it's helpful if somebody's attacking you and you get mad, you know, you're going to carry on your genetic heritage. But we have the ability to think about it
Yeah.
and
if we can, I like Hugh's idea still with his little people there. The distance, keep it, you know, if you can hold it for a little minute before responding and not deny it, because so many of us learn we can't be angry.
I think that's key because when we deny it or repress it, then it's more likely to emerge in a really destructive way. It's going to make us do nasty things to others. It's going to make us sick mentally. It's going to make us sick physically.
Yeah.
Can we start that with disappointment? Is just sitting with, because I get disappointed, I get disappointed, I get disappointed. By the fourth disappointment, my anger is going to flare up.
Are we not giving it life?
That's exactly. We can go both ways. We can go both ways
That's right.
into nursing. Yeah.
Some of it's strength.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're talking to the right people at the right time in the right amount for the right reason. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's if you grew up
something and actually responding to it.
Yeah.
What you said is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Michael.
I just a request for the future. I think we're ourselves, but I'd like to be able to figure out how to turn it outwards and when somebody's mad at me or when I'm, I guess conflict resolution. You know, how can I use this understanding to make the world a better place, make people feel better?
Yeah.
I think part of it is to have a point of view and be able to listen and talk back.
It's the listening part, I think, that's biggest. Go
It's
ahead,
it's a
Carol.
big thing. Yeah, it's a big thing, but yeah.
Carol?
I think the reason I said what I said is that my husband was a Holocaust survivor. And 4 years ago, he said, this is the way Hitler got into power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I have been watching and listening, and by God, he was right.
Yeah.
And I want other people to have their antennas out.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can get up there and say Putin is good and the head of the North Korea is good, and these are people who have reached their peak, he's someone you've got to be scared of.
Yeah. I promise I'm scared, Carol.
These are the people to whom we are sending light and love. Joe and Ken, Sheridan H., Rita S., Greg, Larry, Chris, Shirley Wayness, Tane and Kelly, Margaret L., Jason, all the Datoma cousins, all the graduates this season, the souls of the deceased, especially from war, for Memorial Day, and Lorena B. If there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat, and I will add them to the list in the clubhouse. And for the people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Amen. Let's take a minute at a time. It is played, and you can set it up at another time if you'd like. So you make a 5x5 grid, or in this case a 4x4 grid, and then you add another grid to it. There's my 5x5 bingo grid. So you have a choice. You can go one of two ways on this one. We can go with the gratitude bingo card or the annoyance bingo card. Before you start playing, let me tell you how each is filled in. The gratitude bingo card is you are to find 25 things. You can do 24 because often the middle one is a free space. Put in those 24 boxes things that you wish to see, that you know you'll see, that you'll have gratitude for when you see them. Put those into your bingo card, and then you have all week to play the game. If you're looking for something a little spicier, we got the annoyance bingo card. Do you know that you're going to go to a meeting and it's going to drag on for at least 45 minutes longer than it needs to? Right? Meeting lasts 45 extra minutes in this box here. Do you know that your mother-in-law is going to say something snarky to you this week? Mother-in-law says something snarky goes here. Are you pretty sure that someone is going to say something horribly offensive about your cancer diagnosis? That goes here. The idea, I think you understand, I don't have to explain much about the way the gratitude one works. The idea behind the annoyance bingo card is that instead of that thing happening and it annoys you, I'm sure I'm gonna get the cart with the wobbly wheel at the supermarket. You know, put that in the bingo card. And then when you get the cart with the annoying wheel at the supermarket, you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna win. I got a bingo coming right here. And it's just it's a brain hack. It's a way of changing your perspective. Maria, I know what you're thinking. And you can mix and match and put some annoying things and some things that are of gratitude on the same bingo card. Not sure what the prizes are, but I'm willing to negotiate. I'll forgive you. No, that sounds way too Catholic if we're playing for forgiveness. I have no power to forgive you anyhow. What do you want to play for? What? Oh, forget. Yeah. Is there a prize? You get bingo next week. You can. Ooh, how about you get the right to brag here at the Saturday service next week about the bingo that you got?
Or your book.
I have watching. Bye.
Bye.